What is up? What is up? You already know who it is. Clown ass day. Man. Trials and tribulations. Not that bad. I guess you just got to get through them. I'm your boy Warren G in the place to be. What is up? We are back. Black. Happy to be here. Happy to know what the fuck is going on and not be on no clown ass shit. Shout out to everybody that's, you know what I'm saying, at the corporate plantation right now. I know that shit is not fun at all because I just got off that motherfucker not too long ago and the shit ain't fun. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to motherfuckers that's still out there not protesting but trying to find new and inventive ways to learn and combat this system of racism, anti-racism, anti-black racism, system of racism, white supremacy, and trying to establish a system of justice. So shout out to y'all motherfuckers that's out there. Shout out to everybody that can't wait to go do some sucker shit and go vote. And shout out to everybody that was glued to the goddamn VP debacle. That's what this shit is about today. We gonna get into it. Several things we gonna talk about. R.I.P. to Breonna Taylor, Jonathan Price, George Floyd, David McAddy. Man, there's so many. Walter Scott. Shout out to everybody that has recited and learned and trying to learn Dirty Bookman's prayer. I got to get that shit. I haven't really had a chance to read a lot. So much shit going on and court plantation and shit like that. So shout out to everybody that's handling in business. Shout out to all my finessers. You know, you can't have hard workers unless you got finessers. And shout out to everybody that I would say not holding their hopes on this Raiders stadium as they stink up the joint, because that's all they gonna do. Shout out to everybody that has to work 2 and 3 jobs, man. So I gotta send a special shout out to them, man, because that shit is not fun. I talk about that all the time because I did it. This shit is not fun. It's not good. It's very, very taxing and strenuous on your body. So shout out to all y'all. Shout out to motherfuckers that sitting around the house ain't doing shit all day. I guess you gotta give a shout out to them lazy motherfuckers too. God damn. Shout out to the motherfucker that's not trying to be lazy but just don't have no choice because I guess he don't want to do nothing. So I guess shout out to them motherfuckers. And I want to send a special shout out to motherfuckers that will question the motherfucker that gotta work on the weekends. I gotta discuss that because it's always a nigga that's like, man, why you gotta work on the weekend? Nigga, I ain't got no choice. So shout out to them. And I would suggest you listen to this while you're at the corporate plantation because it just always seems to be better. So you can look at these fuck motherfuckers. So hey, I'm gonna get into it right now, man. You know, if you are at the corporate plantation or heading on, man, shout out to you. Drive safe and be careful, especially out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I seen a fucked up accident today. God damn, I seen a fucked up accident. And it wasn't even on the freeway. It was getting off the freeway. On Cow Canyon Drive in 95. God damn. I mean, the truck was tipped over and it was fucked up, man. Motherfuckers gotta pay attention, man. So shout out to you motherfuckers that's on the road every day. You know, god damn, not only can you get fucked up from a car accident, you gotta deal with these white supremacists who get joy and take pleasure out of killing and shooting niggas. So shout out to motherfuckers that are learning how to maneuver within this system of racism, white supremacy. You should be trying to establish a system of justice. So shout out to y'all. Cut this shit down. Man. I wonder who all has watched this presidential debacle. You know, because I'm very interested to see some of the things that they had to say. I'm just going to play little snippets and shit. I just want to hear what our lovely Kamala Harris, a.k.a. Kamami, a.k.a. I am the mammy, a.k.a. I've been nothing but a mammy, a.k.a. lock these niggas up, a.k.a. fuck these niggas, I'm out of here, a.k.a. I long to be the biggest, best mammy ever on the planet of the United States of America Incorporated. But hey, man, we gonna get into it, man. How many people watched it? I didn't really watch it. I caught little excerpts of it, little snaps of it. Look, first of all, like I said 1,000 times, you're voting for the lesser of the two evils. If niggas is telling you to go vote, that's on some sucker shit. These niggas telling you to vote, a lot of the times, these are niggas that don't know no better. A lot of times, these are people that have not educated themselves. You need to question people all the time and say, okay, you want me to vote? Then why would I vote for Joe Biden when he's the architect behind the crime bill? And then when people get this out, like, what's the crime bill? Be like, okay, well, then you need to read The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Go read this book. Before you get into anything else, have them read that book. Then after they read that book, I think the next thing you need to do is you need to educate them on reading and how fundamental. This is only black folks. Stop doing it with white folks. Stop trying to educate white folks about racism and white supremacy. Stop. They know exactly what it is. Stop educating them. It is not your job. Matter of fact, it's not your job to educate other racial groups. It is your job to educate your own. That's the problem. We want to go out there and proselytize to every other racial group, and then when it comes to your own, you don't want to talk to them. And I tweeted today, I said, why do we allow people to represent us, but they don't want to claim us? So Kamala, aka Kamami Harris, wants to claim us and act like she's so black when it benefits us. But then when you get a chance to start talking about all the fucked up shit she did to black folk, first of all, I don't know why ain't nobody been like, well, you were a side bitch. You were fucking the mayor of San Francisco. That's how you built your career. I'm surprised they haven't threw those type of commercials out there, because usually it's down and dirty. But I guess Donald Trump probably felt like, well, we ain't gotta do this. This is a dumb black bitch anyway. Matter of fact, the bitch don't even claim black. She claims something else. But when it's convenient, you want to get out there and talk about, first of all, this is the same woman who lied and said she listens to Tupac. I'm gonna see if I can find that. And it's so funny. I'm surprised they ain't asked her about, I'm surprised they ain't asked her about Breonna Taylor. I'm very interested to see if they're going to ask her about that, anybody. Because it's so funny. This is the same woman who lied to Angela Rye. I'm going to see if I can find that. I'm going to see if I can find that footage of her with Angela Rye lying about Tupac. I'm going to see if I can play that shit. Hold on. Let me see if I can find YouTube. I'm going to YouTube and let's see if I can find that shit. Because it's very interesting how she just got straight busted. Wait, hold on. Let's see. Kamala Harris. Angela. About to. Hold on. Let's see if I can find this. Let's see if I can find this. Yeah, let's see. I think I found it. I'm not going to play no commercials, but I think that I found it. Hold on. Yeah. And let us be mindful of this before we go into anything. I'm not condoning fucking with Donald Trump either. He is a white supremacist, but the thing that I'm trying to tell you is I like my white supremacists bold out front and is going to tell us exactly how they really feel about niggas. I don't like this covert operating anti-black racism that goes on within the Democratic community. And you're like, what do you mean? Well, look at Ed Buck. Ain't nobody said nothing about Ed Buck. Ain't nobody said nothing about Bill Clinton. And he was basically getting a massage from one of Jeffrey Epstein's bitches. And nobody said anything about that, but we can all pile on R. Kelly. And I just find it quite interesting that even in watching snippets of the debate, just her facial expression, and I'm just looking like, wow, she's very well put together. But all you gotta do is do some digging. And she has not been an asset or an ally to black folk. She's been more like an arch enemy. So let's see. Let's see what we're going to get into with her and the other mammy, Angela Rye, which I can't stand that bitch. I just don't, I don't like anything about her, because if you're a lawyer and you're an attorney then you know how crooked and how vile this system is. And you choose not to speak about it so uh, you could be a commentator on CNN and tell niggas to go do sucker shit like vote, which you know it really doesn't benefit black folk. And then they run on that mantra of black folks died to vote. Then you start playing, what's his name? John Lewis. And then this nigga always talk about getting in good trouble and all this other shit. And it's like, damn, nigga, like, why that? And then they go back around with the Martin Luther King thing. Then they kind of make you feel bad that you're not voting. Well, I'm that nigga. When a nigga tell you to vote, send they ass to me. Give my email. Email me. Hit me up on this YouTube. I'm gonna be like, that's some sucker shit. I tell any nigga, vote for what? Nigga, without powernomics and putting bread on these politicians' heads, ain't nothing gonna change if you vote. Unless you vote as a block and strategically vote special interest of your particular racial group. And when you put bread on their head and vote in your interest as a block, then when they don't do what they're supposed to do, you vote their asses the fuck up out of there. You got to follow Dr. Claude Anderson's formula. But a lot of motherfuckers don't want to follow that formula because they feel like, because I get it. He's not a celebrity to y'all. Well, where do y'all think Puff Daddy got his information from? When he went on Instagram and was like, well, we know black people, we don't need to vote unless we get something for our vote. He got that from Dr. Claude Anderson. Stop. Let's hear what she got to say.
Hearing about the charges in the Breonna Taylor.
First, she's going to talk about Breonna Taylor. Now, this is your vice president. Look, I'm not putting nothing past Mike Pence and Donald Trump. They don't give a fuck about Breonna Taylor either. So let's keep that all the way out there. They don't give a fuck about Breonna Taylor. I know that. But when you're looking at your own that they place in front of you, you got to really, really look because it could be deceiving. It could be some Obama 2.0. Now, watch how she answers this question.
Or the lack thereof.
It was a gut punch in many ways.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. It is always a joy to partake in the convention of the NAACP. I think this is my second event. Lifelong member, partially by force because of my...
Man, what? They just skipping all over the place.
In the middle of debate prep, I wish I...
Thank everybody, Chairman Russell, for that.
Yeah, it will. And with that, I want to start because I know that part of what's happening in debate prep is they got to get you with rapid round. So one of my favorite things to do for the podcast is a rapid round. Part of that is to just loosen us up and get ready to just dive right in. We want to consider this family talk. So here we go. Let's start.
Okay.
So you are a proud AKA. How do y'all normally greet each other?
With a hug. Not during COVID.
Okay, what do you guys say? What's the little thing you say?
So you notice she said you're an AKA. First of all, y'all, these fraternities, I know this. Shout out to the AKAs and the XYZs and the LMNOPs and the Alpha Omegas and Sci-Fis. That Greek bullshit that they stole from Africa, y'all need to stop that. I'm sorry, but y'all need to stop. Stop. They stole that from Africa. Them and Alexander the Greek and Plato and Socrates and Aristotle and Pythagoras with his stealing ass, they stole all that from Africa, and then y'all sit up there praising. That's why they sit back and laugh at us, because they like, look at these dumbass niggas. They want to have a sorority and a fraternity just like us, and they using the same shit that we use. Look at these dumb niggas, and we got the shit from them. That's how they view you. But you know, she started off with asking that question, then you see her response. Because Kamala Harris she's not as bright as people think. That's one. And two, the thing that I've noticed about her, when she gets asked questions, she don't know what to do. She just start laughing. That's what she do when she don't know what else to say.
Greetings, soror.
Thank you. I was looking for a ski week, but I'll take it.
You know, when you go through the process of becoming one, then we can have that conversation.
Not happening. I am black and not Greek. I'm an Eddie Raj child. Okay, next one. Did you?
You're black and not Greek, but you're bragging about a Greek fraternity because that's where y'all got it from. If you're in the United States of America Incorporated, you got it from white people. You didn't make it up yourself. You're mimicking and replicating them. So with that being said, I can see if that fraternity was named after Queen Nzinga, named after, let's say, Bilal, named after, let's say, Antar, named after, let's say, Jean-Jacques Dessalines. That's different. But for it to be named after Greek people, don't try to distance yourself now. You bragging about it. So keep bragging. And that's why I don't like you. Like, why you don't like Angela? I don't like Angela Rye because she was on Nick Cannon's class telling niggas how we supposed to go vote. And I'm an attorney and all this other stuff. I was like, oh man, this bitch is on some sucker shit. I can already tell.
No, that you and Snoop Dogg share a birthday.
I did.
Oh.
I actually did.
Oh.
And I talked to him recently.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Now she throwing out Snoop Dogg's name. Here we go. Here we go. Even though you lied about talking about you listening to him when you was in college, but that was in the 80s. Snoop didn't come out to, Deep Cover came out in what, 92? If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 92.
About voting, actually. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
About vote, all of us voting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important right now.
Yeah.
Okay, your favorite professor at Howard.
Oh.
She went to HBCU, but she doesn't really claim blackness, right? She claims that Indian shit before that black shit. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why they always go find somebody that's really not a they're not foundational black American. What's going on, Tasha? I see you. They're not a foundational black American. They don't give a fuck about no niggas. And when they get around they people, they talk shit about us every chance they get. But this is the motherfucker y'all want me to vote after she done locked up all them niggas in San Francisco and she was a side bitch? Stop.
Dr. Houchkins, there were so many, but I'll start with him. He was one of the ones who had been a real barrier breaker in his own career in life. And but there's so many, and the thing about the professors at Howard is that they were the best and the brightest in their field. They could have taught anywhere that they wanted to teach, but they chose to teach us, and in that way
Here we go with the bullshit.
really inspired us in ways that
Get to
that is, but no, truly, that is an HBCU experience, and it's universal in that.
Let's get to the next one.
Okay. No, you can say yourself. Okay, what's the first thing you do in the morning?
Oh,
Let's get to the good shit, because this bitch is bullshit.
was my assistant to ask him am I running on time or not.
Keep this in order.
In the United States Capitol. I'm the only black woman in the United States Senate.
I'm the only black woman, but you treat black people fucked up. So how are you any different from Keisha LaMamie Bottoms? How are you any different from Stacey Abrams, who looked like the Pine Saw lady? How are you any different from any of these other people? But you see, when you're talking to Angela Rye, sister girl, and then when you're around white people, I'm Indian. I'm Brahmin. That bullshit.
Yeah.
And only the second in the history of the United States Senate to have been elected. I'm looking at this casket laying in state. She is the first woman ever.
Yeah.
And she was, she was a petite woman. And
Okay, yeah. That's Tariq now. She was a bitch, you're babbling. I get to the next thing. God damn.
I have been in conversations with her mother, Tamika Palmer, for months now, and the first conversation that I had with her.
Let's see who she's talking about.
Hearing about the charges in the Breonna Taylor case, or the lack thereof.
Uh-oh.
It was it was a gut punch in many ways. I have been in conversations with.
It was a gut punch. How about disappointing? How about disheartening? How about it shows why people of color or black folk have a distrust towards our law enforcement and our justice system? Why don't you say that?
her mother, Tamika Palmer, for months now, you know, and the first conversation that I had with her, when she talked about her daughter and therefore the life that has now been lost. Breonna Taylor.
I think she's reading. Oh man, I gotta know how to screenshot. I think she's reading notes. I think Angela Rye prepped her on this shit, and I think she's reading notes. Cause I'm like, why does she keep looking down? Oh man.
A caregiver in her spirit and her nature. She cared for her grandmother. She cared for her family. She cared for her community. She cared for society. She cared for people she had never met, which is why she wanted to be, as her life dream, a nurse, but decided to first become an EMT so she could respond to the call on the street, so that she would...
But we know all this already. This is y'all VP. You notice she ain't saying bringing those police officers to justice. Bring the sheriff to justice. Bring the mayor. Everyone that's in charge that would allow this to go on. The no-knock warrant. The judges. She's not going to speak against law enforcement. She's not going to speak against this justice system because she's a part of it. And this is why black folks have run up to you talking about, man, Kamala and them, they going to change the shit. No, they are not.
Understand what was happening in the streets, on the ground, and be able to respond immediately. That's why she became an EMT with a life's purpose and dream.
And that's something that her staff told her. And then you know how she mentioned Breonna Taylor's mom? Well, I've been in contact with her. Man, you probably picked up the phone and called. You wouldn't even be dealing with her if you wasn't running. If you weren't running for vice presidency, you wouldn't even be dealing with these people. That's a fact. And I'm waiting to see when family members are going to start calling these politicians to the floor and be like, okay, well, what are you planning on doing so this doesn't happen again? Like specific answers. Like not know, well, I'm going to get with the justice reform. Fuck all that justice reform. Police reform. Police reform got Jonathan Price shot the fuck up. So I don't want to hear nothing about no police reform. That's the problem. I ain't even gotten to the debate shit. I'm just playing some shit before the debate so y'all can see exactly what the fuck we dealing with.
Of becoming a nurse. And she was beautiful inside and out in every way. And it is tragic. And, you know, I have been saying from the beginning that her life deserves to be valued and to be honored. And
nigga, what? Like you said, what is she talking? What the fuck is she talking? See, this is exactly why I don't like Ben Crump and Lee Merritt and all. Look, I'm telling you right now, man, y'all need to stop bartering lives, black lives, for money and for political gain. Like, stop doing it so they can mention your kids. Like, stop, because they're going to forget about that shit. If we don't say Breonna's name, Trayvon Martin's name, Philando Castile, George Floyd, Walter Scott, Sandra fucking Bland, Mike Brown, Alton Sterling, Oscar Grant. You don't say these people's names. Freddie Gray. If you don't start saying these people's names and keep talking about it, then white people just going to let you forget. That's their job, to let you forget. That's their job. They don't want you to keep talking about that shit, because then it's going to conjure up old feelings. They're like, hey, that was some bullshit. So that's why they just rather you just keep protesting. Just go on, clown. Go on out there and keep protesting. Keep with the bullshit. But these niggas don't give a fuck about what y'all talking about. It is clear as day that she's reading a script and then kind of freestyling it. And then when she gets off track, she goes back to the script. And the reason why I say that is because, to me, you just making up shit now. Well, we know she was a lovely person. They've put that all on the media. Her family has made sure we know that. So what is it, something that you know personally about her character? Because all the shit you're saying, we already know that. The boyfriend then talked about it, the mom, the cousins. Come on. We've seen video footage of how loving she was and how much she was loved. So that we can find that on the internet. What do you know personally? What have you sought out, and what have you said, I'm going to do to make sure y'all get justice for Breonna? No, you just going to call, make it seem like you give a fuck. You don't go about your way. So you're just as bad as all the white people. It's a fact.
And she and her family and and the rest of the community deserve justice. They deserve justice then, they deserve justice today, and they deserve justice tomorrow. And you know,
Nigga, what?
it's now become cliche, but it just remains true. I will not stop speaking her name.
Oh.
And speaking her name, the Attorney General in the state, Daniel Cameron, did just that at the RNC. He spoke her name, and then there are these charges for bullets shot into the home of her white neighbor, but not bullets that killed Breonna Taylor. Given the fact that you were a prosecutor, would you have pressed charges against the 3 officers involved in the case?
Watch this.
Well, I don't know all the details of the case, but I will.
Oh, so now you don't know all the details of the case. This is the shit that I'm in this. So now you don't know all the details of the case. That's a deflection. That is a fucking goddamn deflection. So now you don't know. The details of the case have been on the news for months and months and months. What the fuck are you talking about? We've been in a state of emergency and a lockdown the last 6 goddamn months. So you ain't had nothing but time to look at that. He just picked you as the vice president. So you had nothing but time to look at that. So now all of a sudden you don't know so you need all the intricate details of the case. Bitch, you're not a prosecutor no more. So why do you need all the intricate details? And if you've been in close contact with Breonna Taylor's mom, then on GP, you would be like, after hearing certain details that I can't disclose with the general public, yes, I would have prosecuted for the full extent of the law. And that's all I'm going to, but of course you're not going to say that. Of course you're not going to say that because you don't really give a fuck. So she just let you, I don't know. I don't know the case. That's like a motherfucker be like, man, they should go to jail. Yeah, go to jail. But if you was a judge, would you may go to jail? Oh, I don't know all the case. Well, what the fuck you mean? You just said you wanted justice. So if you just said you wanted justice, then why wouldn't you prosecute? You know why she wouldn't prosecute? Because that will be used against her in the debate. That will be used against her with those public ads. So she has to watch what she says, and she went on somewhere safe, like Angela Rye, who's a boule bitch, who thinks she better than the majority of the black folk, who treat motherfuckers like shit. You can just look at the bitch and tell. Trust them, but she is that bitch at the goddamn cubicle who will tell you to go get a degree, who's reporting to somebody white with no degree, doing black tar heroin in the bathroom. That's the type of bitch she is. But still, look at you crazy because you may fucking work in the mailroom, or you may pick up the trash at the job, or you may just do something. You might work in the file room, and you may not have a fucking cubicle desk, but she's that bitch. I'm telling y'all right now. That's why she's on TV. Why else would they have the bitch on TV?
This, that there needs to be transparency about what happened, and that family and that community deserve justice.
Yeah.
And transparency is a political term. We're going to have full transparency. Isn't that what they say every time they do an investigation? There's going to be full transparency. That's a corporate autocracy term type shit. That's some corporate plantation bullshit. It's going to be plenty of transparency. Stop.
And that's just the bottom line.
So speaking of justice, I know that you attended at least one that I know of, one where you were caught, a BLM protest, kind of incognito, and you went to just stand in solidarity. How does that compare, right, to the way Donald Trump talks about Black Lives Matter as a terrorist?
First of all, Black Lives Matter does not represent FBA at all. It does not represent Foundational Black Americans, Native Blacks. It does not at all. Black Lives Matter is some George Soros, LGBTQ co-opted bullshit. That's why you see a whole bunch of white people out there. Because like I told y'all before, how many times y'all need to hear me say it? White people will protest with you until it's time to talk about reparations. And then white people going to be like, whoa, well, I don't know about that. I'm poor too. Well, then I should get some money. Well, did you build the country? No, but I'm poor. Well, why should you guys get it and not us? See, that's when they'll be like, well, y'all niggas is on y'all own with reparations. Trust and believe you me.
Organization. What do you say back to maybe some of his supporters and folks who are confused about what BLM actually stands for and what it means, especially with given the fact that Patrice and Opal and Alicia were on the front page or the cover of Time magazine as 100 women or 100 people now who are changing the world.
She just helped her with that question. So,
Well, and good for Time magazine for doing that, because they have
nah, go to the next thing.
brought together a bipartisan group to support it. And it does a number of things which Joe Biden has, without any hesitation, said that he will do in our administration.
Let's see what the question was first. Hold on, let's see.
The Justice and Policing Act, and yes, Cory Booker, my brother in the Senate, we led it on the Senate side, but then got a lot of senators to sign on to it. In the House side, our fellow members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and brought together a bipartisan group to support it. And
Oh, you're babbling. Sorry. Get to the next thing.
his money is out exercising free will and liberty, right? Out there able to walk the streets. So that's an economic justice issue. So we'll get rid of cash bail as well. So these are some of the things we'll do.
Speaking of economic justice, Donald Trump wrote out today a $500 billion economic justice plan for Black Americans.
So what's your
What I
plan?
think is important is for people to hear some of your commitments, some of Joe Biden's commitments to Black folks, as people try to say, right? It's the lesser of two evils again. It's the same thing we heard in 2016. How can you just refute that outright? How is this not the lesser of two evils after 200,000 and counting people have died from corona?
No, see, y'all need to listen to that. See, she's helping her. So she brings up Donald Trump's $500 billion economic plan for Black folks, but then she goes into well, how's it any different? No. What is your plan, Kamala? What's the plan for Black people? See, that's why her ass should have went on fucking the Breakfast Club, because I'm pretty sure they would have nailed her to the cross and be like, okay, well, what's the plan? And that's why you notice they still haven't been back on the Breakfast Club at all. Ever since Joe Biden was on there talking about, if you don't vote for me, Charlamagne, then you ain't Black. He's got to go. The vice president's got to go.
Virus in this country at the hands of this irresponsible president. That's not NAACP's words. Those are mine. But I do want to point that out. When you talk about what's happened with COVID and the response that you all would have, when you talk about his $500 billion plan and the response that you all would have specifically to Black people, thinking about Alicia's Black to the Future, Black Agenda 2020, thinking about Ice Cube's contract with Black America. Some people are saying, in order to turn out, Senator Harris, I need to know what you're going to do for me. What do I get in return for my vote? How do you respond to that?
That's absolutely right. And people have a right to have their vote earned. Nobody should be saying to anybody, and especially to our folks.
Now she's deflecting. Get to the answer, clown. She's about to get the music in a minute, for real.
That you're supposed to vote for us. That's insulting. We need to earn the vote. And so let's talk about the economic piece. Yeah. And I'm not going to even go into the fact that,
just get to the point, bitch. You're babbling now. God damn it, deflecting like a motherfucker. Stop taking us on the alligator road and answer the goddamn question.
Donald Trump refuses to say Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And Joe Biden has said it. But let's put that aside. In terms of the proactive, right, earning the vote. One of the things that is very important to Joe Biden, and certainly to all of us, is that we understand, when you talk about criminal justice, we've got to reimagine public safety and how we achieve it. And here's what I mean. If you go into any upper middle class neighborhood in America, you will not see the kind of police presence you see in other neighborhoods. But what you will see are well-funded public schools. What you will see are high rates of home ownership. What you will see are small businesses that have...
Okay, so you talking about cutting the check and giving niggas some bread, or what the fuck are you really talking about right now? Because to me, it just seems like you're deflecting and taking us on the alligator roll. Are you cutting a check or what are we doing right now? Because you're talking about, well, what do you see, in upper middle class neighborhoods, there's nice schools. We know all that. So where's the money? Donald Trump came up with the money, so where's the money?
Access to capital. What you will see are communities that can get health care and afford it, including mental health care.
There we go with see? How long have we been talking about healthcare? We've been talking about healthcare since I was a kid. Healthcare, healthcare, healthcare. Healthcare, Obamacare, healthcare, Mitt Romney care, Donald Trump care. Why is it we keep still talking? Now, how is it Canada could have free healthcare, but when it comes to the United States, all of a sudden we can't have free healthcare? But in California alone, they seem to have private funding for $5 billion to build a stadium for the Rams in Inglewood. So they got $5 billion to build a stadium, correct? And then they got $1.5 billion with taxpayers' dollars in Las Vegas, Nevada. But the Clark County School District is 50th in education in the United States of America, right? So that should tell you what the fuck is going on. We know all this about the schools now fucked up. Where is the goddamn money? What do you do? What's the plan? Because to me, it just feels like you're deflecting an alligator rolling right now.
What you will see are people who have jobs that allow them to get through the end of the month without worrying about whether they can feed their children. Healthy communities are safe communities. So it is an outdated way of thinking to think the way you create safe communities is only by putting more police officers on the streets. You want to see safe communities? Invest in the health and well-being of those communities. So I say all that to say that part of what our plan is about $150 billion going into low-interest loans and access to capital with an emphasis on Black-owned and minority-owned businesses.
Oh, there you go, minority. Now, why is it that both of them, Donald Trump as well, the $500 billion, those are just loans. You will pay it back in taxes. Already know that. But why is it, okay, 150, 250, whatever. Why is it's got to be minorities? We're talking about the black community, black folks who built this fucking country. Why is it man, this man is a genius. Go get this book. Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. Go get the book. I suggest everybody go get it and read it. It's so funny. He's not lying. They always include minorities and people of color and use those broad and ambiguous terms, like Dr. Claude Anderson says, to get you tripped up. And then you be black and brown and all this other stuff. No diss to my Latino brothers and sisters, but y'all did not build this country. We built this country off the backs of black labor, not off the backs of anyone else. Because if that's the case, they wouldn't have needed us. They would have went and got y'all. No, they got us, even though we were already here, but they went and got some more niggas because we were already here. So all they did was just go get other niggas, period. That's all they did. Well, fuck it. Let's just go get other niggas. Because shit, they work out fine over here. So with that being said, that is a smokescreen. And what you'll see is Muhammad Akbar, the Arab, working in a 7-Eleven or in your local corner store, and that will be the minority business. See, that's how that works. But motherfuckers don't get that. That's why you go in a 7-Eleven, it's always an Arab owning a corner store or owning a gas station. When's the last time you went to a gas station, you saw a black person as the owner? They literally came out and said, I own this Chevron. I own this. No, it's Arabs who own them for the majority of the time. I'm telling you, that's the formula. So don't get tripped up with this black and then you see she threw in the minority at the end. I would have said, well, wouldn't you classify black Americans, differently from minorities? Because minorities could be any other racial group. But let's see what she says.
We know that our small businesses are part of the lifeblood of our communities. I was just in Detroit, 7 Mile Road, right? You can go to any city in America and see, usually it's called MLK Way, but you will see all of those businesses and what they are in terms of those leaders being not only business leaders, but civic leaders and community leaders, right? So the infusion of capital and access to capital for our small businesses, knowing, and wherever they are, and I'm joking about MLK Way, you know what I'm saying, right? But that it is, say what?
I said, no, that's real though. Except for
Well,
Indiana,
yeah,
where I'm from, it's gentrified now, but it's real.
right. But because we have such great entrepreneurial spirit, and it is not the lack of that, it is the lack of access to capital.
Yeah, but the lack of access to capital is from your friends. That's why. That's why instead of trying to give us a loan, we should have reparations. And the reason why we should have reparations, because that's deserving of black folk who built this country, so we don't have to be stressed out and running the drugs and everything else, because we got to go work for the dominant white society and be just like them. That's where the problem lies. That's why reparations could end all that tomorrow. If they tonight said, we're giving black folks $40 trillion. Now divvy that up amongst 40 million black people. And I don't want to see no Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and everybody else popping up out of everywhere talking about, I black. Nope. Because the motherfucker only want to claim black when it's beneficial and convenient for them. And then y'all can interview Cardi B and talk to that tramp bitch all y'all want. So go ahead. That doesn't bother me. I don't care. But what I'm saying is give us what is deserving of us. And I'm tired of them propping up black folk to speak on our behalf. And then when you put the camera, look, and she's like, oh, well, we're going to give you $150 billion. And so black folks can have access to capital, black folks and minorities. Well, then we got to share with other racial groups. That's not fair. Because if I go to Mexico or if I go to another country, they're not going to take capital and divvy it up with my black ass because I'm not from there and I didn't build that country.
That has held those businesses back. So access to capital, home ownership. I mean, we know in terms of the history of our country, nobody got 40 acres and a mule. We had a history of redlining. We had a history of, after World War II, when all those mostly men came back from war, the government said, we're going to make this greatest generation a strong middle class, and they gave federal support for people to...
Yeah, but the FHA loans were strictly for middle-class white people. It was not for black folks. Stop with the bullshit. Stop.
...in home ownership, but black servicemen were pretty much left out, right? So when you saw a real infusion of capital around home ownership, the black community didn't get that either. And so we also know that home ownership is one of the greatest sources of wealth of any American family, and also the greatest sources of intergenerational wealth, meaning grandmother passes it down to the...
Yeah, we already know about generational wealth. You're deviating from what the fuck we talking about. And now it's just like, all right, you're doing too much.
And as we know, for whatever reason, there's this targeting of black men by the Trump campaign with a lot of information about you that's not even true. So as you think about your homegirl vibes, and one of my favorite things about you is not only how well you listen to us, but when you come back, even if I'm hollering or whatever, it's always this calm, even-keeled, this is just what we got to do. So if you had a moment to talk to young black men, especially...
Nah, I don't want to hear that. Let's just move it along, because y'all just babbling about shit that don't even matter. Y'all talk about shit that don't even fucking matter, man. Let's get the music back on. And this was before the debate. This was before the debate. That's why I just wanted to play that before the debate, so motherfuckers could be like, man, Kamala did good. Okay, well, let's just go play what she said. Now, she said she wouldn't prosecute because she has to know all the facts about the Breonna case. But then she said she was in close contact with her mom. So if you was in close contact with her mom, what did y'all talk about? Where you get your bundles from when you buy your weaves? Like where you get your nails done at? Or like, I don't get it. Or how to be a better side bitch? I don't, to promote your career. Like, I don't understand. If I'm talking to someone who just lost their daughter or their son, I'm trying to have the most authentic conversation with them that I possibly can. And I'm not going to deviate from that. Now I'm not going to discuss everything, but when you're a politician, you're just going to use that as, I would say, talking points. So she can genuinely say, yeah, I've been talking to her, but you ain't really been saying nothing at all. Stop. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. That's why I'm like, damn. And I ain't even got to the motherfucking. That's why I'm like, man, let me get to the presidential bullshit. Now let's see. Now, before we get started, I'm going to play some of it. We're going to skip through it. But I just want y'all to understand that this woman is not for you. I'm not saying Mike Pence and Donald Trump are any better. But what I'm saying is it can't get no worse than what it already is. You can't miss nothing you ain't had. Matter of fact, you can. You can miss something that you have had. And that's another Barack Obama. Pretending like he fuck with niggas. Just get y'all to do some suck ass shit and vote for him so he can win by a landslide, so he can get in there and be the best black Jewish president in the history of the United States of America Incorporated. Ask his good homeboy, Rahm Emanuel, who held the videotape of Laquan McDonald because he wanted to get reelected as mayor. And this is Barack Obama's homeboy. And Joe Biden, the 94 crime bill expert, who didn't even apologize. At least Hillary Clinton apologized for it. That motherfucker was like, well, no. The black people wanted me to, the black people, those were Sambos and Coons that wanted you to do that. Real niggas ain't gonna want that up on their people. Stop.
Lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots, a federal mandate to wear masks. You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country.
210,000 people did not die of coronavirus. Stop lying. Stop it. These niggas had pre-existing illnesses and other things, and they were just marking on the bias, oh, they died of corona. Stop. Too many whistleblowers came out and said y'all lying. So stop.
In just the last several months, over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers.
Okay, then why don't y'all keep making these corporate plantations give us that pay for being? See, y'all, you're so funny. I don't see either side full Fortune 500 companies that are benefiting off of essential workers working, no matter what it is, fast food, whatever. Then why don't y'all make them pay them more? And say, well, we're going to tax y'all next year if y'all don't pay them more because they're risking their lives for y'all. Y'all not, because y'all asses is not out there on the front lines. See, that's how it works. That's how war works. You got a president, well, I declare war, but his kids ain't out there. Go watch Fahrenheit 9/11. When Michael Moore started asking those senators and congressmen, well, here, I want you to sign this petition so your son could go to war. Them motherfuckers like, I'm not signing that. I'm not sending my kid to war. Yeah, but it's okay to send somebody else's kid to war, though. Same thing that works with the essential worker bullshit. Y'all not putting no pressure on these Fortune 500 companies, these major corporate plantations, to make sure they paying more than what they should be paying since motherfuckers is out there doing it. Y'all not saying nothing about that. I'm not mad at the corporate plantations. You know why? Because they're only going to do what they're allowed to do. These are the motherfucking so-called gatekeepers that are writing these laws. And they're writing these laws to benefit these major corporations, these corporate plantations. They're not writing these laws to benefit the motherfucking average nigga.
We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment.
And y'all got the money, so keep printing it. And stop bullshit and act like y'all don't got the money. Stop.
And here's the thing. On January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne.
All right, your 2 minutes is up, bitch.
And they knew what was happening, and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th?
Well, why don't you talk about all those senators and congressmen that started selling off their stock right before the shit hit the fan? Why don't you talk about them? Bring them up. But of course, yet again, let's make Donald Trump the boogeyman. Boogeyman. Stop.
They knew what you might have done to prepare. They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on, and we need to save our country. And Joe Biden is the best leader to do that. And frankly, this administration has forfeited their right to re-election.
Translation. My master is the best master ever, and I think my master should be in charge because he's a good and merciful master. Stop. Stop with the bullshit. Stop with the bullshit. Stop it.
That shows that leaders of...
And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors?
A bunch of bullshit. Let's get to the next motherfucking question. A bunch of bullshit.
About John McCain, a great American hero.
John McCain was a POW that got captured. And see, and Kamala, John McCain voted not to have MLK Day in Arizona. He was the senator that voted against it. And you sitting up here talking about he was a great man. He was a great racist, white supremacist, anti-black practicing motherfucker is who he was. Because why would he vote against the holiday of Martin Luther King? In Arizona to this day, I think it's one of the only states that don't celebrate Martin Luther King Day. Go watch Martin when he told that kid, stay home on MLK Day. I don't care what they tell you. That's a fact.
And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who is the current commander-in-chief and what they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump...
No way. We know that.
...had talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Thank you.
Joe Biden would... But Joe Biden would hold...
Joe Biden would put over 550,000 black folk in prison for the 3 strikes law, along with his good buddy and friend Hillary Clinton and Billary Clinton. Them 2 motherfuckers. So stop what the fuck Joe Biden would do. Joe Biden would do 10 times worse than what the fuck Donald Trump is doing. Stop. The difference between telling you to your face, fuck you niggas, I don't fuck with y'all. Joe Biden would be like, I fuck with y'all. And get to
other important
thank
issues
you.
as
So
well.
get to the
I
next
wanna
question,
make
bitch.
sure we have a chance.
I really have to
talk
respond to that.
Look,
No, Mike Pence, you ain't even got to respond. This is a dumb bitch, and so are you. So it doesn't matter.
Fact, because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus.
Let's get to the end. I just want to see. Yeah, let's get to right here. We're going to find this right here.
Most prosperous nation in the history of the world. And I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the 2 of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So
no, that's what fake-ass motherfuckers do. Fuck all that.
I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people, and the American people each and every day. Love a good debate. We love a good argument, but we always come together and are always there for one another.
Thank you,
in
Vice
times of need.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Vice
The
President.
difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is
Boy, this is a grinning bitch, ain't she? Just grinning. God damn.
that perspective on who we are and who we should be. That is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president
To gain power and make sure his people were straight.
is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle. And working in a
Yeah, working across the aisle to lock up a whole bunch of niggas. That's what Joe Biden's reputation is. And ain't she just a mammy? Boy, she's a good mammy. I'm telling you, bitch about to get the mammy music in a minute.
partisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You have to know Joe's story to know.
Well, he wasn't fighting for no black folks' dignity. He was fighting for white folks' dignity when he said, I don't want, we got to lock these people up. I don't want them raping my daughter or my mother or I don't hitting them upside the head. And that's what Joe Biden said. That's all documented history, by the way. But this bitch is trying to paint him to be, damn, she might as well just say Joe Biden's the next best thing to Jesus Christ. Because that's the way the fuck she's acting. This is the same man that said, why should I pay reparations? Why should I be responsible for what my great-great-grandfathers did? That's not, I didn't do that. Well, you're a direct beneficiary of that bullshit that your great-great-grandfathers and them did. But them motherfuckers feel like, and that's how 99.999% of white folks feel, just like Joe Biden.
That Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love. And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged.
Not do they vote. Trust and believe you me. You're not finna see no Koreans out there voting. You ain't gonna see a whole bunch of Chinese motherfuckers out there voting. They just put bread on the politician's head and make it do what it do. Niggas is the only niggas that be out there fighting with niggas about voting and shit and telling niggas go vote.
In this election, because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote
Thank you,
to
Senator
determine
Harris.
the
Thank you, Senator.
future of
Thank
our
you, Senator.
country
Thank you,
and what
Senator.
its
Next.
leadership
Thank you, Senator. God
Thank
damn.
you, Senator Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We want to thank also.
Man, I couldn't even get through that whole thing, man. That shit was just too much. This bitch is a grinning bitch and act like everything Joe Biden did is good. Bitch, stop. But this is who the fuck y'all want to vote for. Man, get the fuck out of here. As the Louisville Police Department just walks in Breonna Taylor's home and she's lying dead talking about, Breonna, can you hear us? Y'all know y'all killed this girl. It's blood everywhere. Man, it's just, God damn, man. This is the shit that I'm talking about, man. And y'all got to really, really understand. They can kill you at any time. Every day, the next day is not promised. Enjoy it to the fullest. Be mindful of what you do and understand what the fuck is going on, man. And stop thinking that vote is going to change the law. No, learning the law is going to change it. Not voting. That's not going to do nothing but enable bad behavior that's already going on. It's not going to vote for what? That shit is not going to change nothing. Y'all motherfuckers thinking that's going to change. Y'all niggas is sadly goddamn mistaken, man. That shit is never going to change. I don't know why motherfuckers think, oh, it's going to change. No, it's not. So, motherfucker, well, I remember, vote Democrat. Vote Democrat for what? What has the goddamn Democratic Party done for black folk? And who was it? LBJ? Who was it? LBJ? I think it was Lyndon Baines Johnson, one of them. Oh, I'm a little blurry. Yeah, I know I'm a little blurry. That's because motherfuckers stream me tripping. It ain't my shit. My internet is A1. So wow. But I tell you, motherfuckers need to understand what the fuck is going on and do your best to maintain trying to establish a system of justice and replacing the system of racism and white supremacy, and stop going for the sucker shit and voting because niggas telling you to go vote. Because the shit is not going to change. All the bullshit that you got going on is not going to change. The only thing it's going to do is maintain the same thing. So basically, most black people, in my personal opinion, they just want to make racism comfortable. They don't really want to change the motherfucking system. And motherfuckers be like, well, why they don't want to change it? Why would you change it? It's beneficial for black people not to be successful. It's beneficial for white people, for black people to be behind the line, for white people to be in charge of everything. That's why white people act like they always supposed to be telling a nigga what to do. So if you're not trying to establish a system of justice, then I don't know what the fuck you're doing. You should be waking up and trying to do that every day. And that doesn't mean just going out there, fight for your rights and Black Lives Matter, trying to open up you a business, trying to flip, come up with a plan. Don't tell people the plan, just come up with the plan. And when you come up with the plan, things will be better. But a vision without a plan is just an hallucination. So if you're not trying to have no plan to do things the way it could function and have a formulary process of how things work, then you can't be talking about no Black Lives Matter. How are you going to educate your people? Think about it. Motherfucker, hey, you can't stop people from eating fucked up, but you can't give a nigga some CMOS. You can give a nigga some Tootie My pills, vitamins, herbs. You can give niggas shakes and shit. Be like, hey, man, put this CMOS in that shake. That's how it starts. It starts with you. Each one teach 21. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody that's on this, I would say, road of establishing a system of justice and educating the people around you. When you do that, things always work better. Okay, it's better now. Okay. Yeah, man. This shit is always like that. I'm telling you, man. I was just, when I was watching that thing about Breonna Taylor, these police, now they're releasing the footage after they didn't edit it. And then a police officer, he says, hey, be mindful of what you say because we're on camera. Why don't y'all talk how y'all normally talk? Because they didn't give a fuck that she was dead. Matter of fact, it looked targeted. It looked like they was strategically going there because a lot of the things I don't think people are under the guys, I don't think people are educated enough to know that when they target houses, when they target apartment buildings, oh, it's too many drugs and they raid it, that's because they're looking to gentrify the neighborhood, so they want to think of a reason why they can tear the shit down. So if they find one person selling drugs, or they think they're selling drugs and they raid it up, then that can go on the list of, you know what, you gotta sell it and get those motherfuckers out of there, and they gotta move because we need this property. They'll do all kinds of gully shit to get that property. They don't give a fuck. That's why you gotta be mindful of who the fuck you got around you. That's why I don't even like motherfuckers ride with me. Hey, man, don't ride with me, no bullshit. Because motherfucker pull you over, they can impound your car. Oh, well, it's cocaine in the car. Nope. Nah, hell no. I don't play none of that shit. Don't bring it in my house. Don't bring none of that shit around me because they'll do that shit. Remember that. Kamala Harris, Mike Pence, they both don't give a fuck about niggas, but Kamala Harris claims to be black, but she really don't give a fuck about no niggas because she on there defending Joe Biden's actions. And ain't nobody asking her about the 94 crime bill. I can't believe the Republicans ain't going after that. That's crazy. But I guess they feel like, well, bitch, we don't need to because we gonna win on just being us. When the police can just walk into your house after they done shot your shit up and killed everybody, or killed one person, and then still be talking, that shit blows my mind. But then you got motherfuckers like Jacob Blake's mama talking about, I forget the police. You know they ain't talking about that nigga no more. That nigga probably going to jail. And then watch what happens when his ass go to it. Now you guilty, nigga, and you paralyzed. As his dad on TV fucking want to pray and shit. Man, get the fuck out of here so y'all get some bread. Y'all ain't getting shit, nigga. Because, nigga, they finna side with the police every motherfucking time. That's what you get for fucking sandboning, man. But I tell you this, man. Remember what the fuck I'm saying. They don't give a fuck about no niggas. Kamala does not give a fuck about Breonna Taylor. She already said, I can't prosecute because I need to know all of what happened with the case. Remember that when you thinking about voting for her and Joe Biden. Joe 94 crime bill, Biden don't give a fuck about no niggas. So I would suggest, and I'm going to be anti-vote every chance I get. Every chance I get, I'm anti-vote. Jonathan Price was fucking caping for the goddamn police department. And then those are the very motherfuckers that kill him. So fuck all that bullshit. And I don't understand why y'all trust the goddamn law enforcement and justice. The justice system appointed motherfucking J. Edgar Hoover for 40 years. That's the justice system. And I don't care about the Kennedys. All the Kennedys try to act like they were just as racist as everybody else. Man, stop. They didn't do nothing to replace the system of racism and white supremacy and establish the system of justice until they killed John F. Kennedy. Then they want to talk about, the same system that killed MLK killed my brother. Man, I don't give a fuck about that shit. And fuck your brother. That don't got nothing to do with the... Look, they killed one of ours. And I'm tired of niggas talking about Lincoln saved the Union. I was like, man, Lincoln saved the slaves. No, Lincoln saved the Union. He didn't give a fuck about no slaves. And neither does Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton. Where's Hillary Clinton at? Y'all know y'all ain't seen that bitch around. That bitch, y'all ain't gonna see her no more. That bitch lost and the Democratic Party told, okay, bitch, bye-bye, baby, bye-bye. Fuck out of here. We don't need you anymore. That's why you don't hear her running and saying nothing, because there's nobody give a fuck about her no way. And y'all, man, look, y'all can be on that sucker shit all y'all want. I'm telling you what it is. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. But I'm telling you right now, if I was y'all, I wouldn't vote for either party. We can't do no worse under Donald Trump than we have already done under Joe Biden and Obama, because they didn't do shit for niggas. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, man, let people know about the page, man, and let them about the YouTube page. I'm talking about if they on some real shit. If they not, then fuck them. Hey, man, I'm your boy Warren G, in the place to be. Been clowning sucker free since 2003. Shout out to everybody that be watching. Hey, man, get on your CMOS. I got some shit cracking. Real soon, some other shit developing. It's just under the trial stages. Hey, man, I'll get at y'all. I might sneak another podcast in tomorrow around 6 o'clock. But if not, I'll see y'all Sunday. Hey, man, I'm out. Peace.